Hello, everyone. Welcome to History 410. I'm Fred Gibbs, Associate Professor in the History Department. I will be your guide for the course. I wanted to record a quick introductory video to help you get acquainted with the course, how it's set up in Learn, and things that are external to Learn, and make sure everything is kind of organized before we jump in to the course, which of course starts today officially. So let's do it. What's going on? I'm going to bring up the UNM Learn course site. It became available earlier today on Learn, so you should be able to see it in your course, in your Learn dashboard. I'm here at the course dashboard. We use Learn primarily for submitting coursework, and on the discussion board almost always, and occasionally quizzes. Here I'm at the course dashboard. There's not going to be a whole lot here. There's nothing here now. I do occasionally post announcements. They'll show up here. There's a course welcome, which has some basic information about getting started, which is I'm going over in this video. Discussion board, this is where all your work for the course will be posted. I'll post a forum. You can see I've got this week set up. There's a prompt here. This matches what's on the syllabus, which we'll look at in a second. So you'll spend a lot of time in the discussion board this semester, but mostly for posting work, not responding a lot to other people, because I think it just doesn't really work that well. Okay, and then the quizzes. You already have a quiz waiting for you, which you should take sometime before Wednesday. It's just a syllabus quiz to make sure that you're familiar with some of the basics of the course, and gives me a chance to highlight a couple things I want to make sure you know as we get going with the course. The main thing I want to go over now is the syllabus. The syllabus is not in Learn at all. It's completely external. There's a link to it right here on the left, course syllabus. So if you click that, I've got two of them here, you'll come to this page. You'll notice you went to fredgibbs.net. That's me. It's my website where I do all of my syllabi there. If you think UNM Learn is clunky to use as a student, you should try it as an instructor. It's unbelievable. So I do all of my syllabus stuff outside, where I have a lot more freedom to do things that I think are a lot clearer. So there's 2 pages to our syllabus for this class, 2 web pages. There's the home page, which is this. It has all the logistics for the course. It's long because I've tried to be very explicit and very clear about everything. Okay, I'll go over this in a little bit more detail in just a second. There's a second page, which is what you're going to use most of this semester, which has all the readings and assignments. It's organized like this. There's a week heading, like week 1, introductions. There's a brief description. Then there's a heading for each day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There's a description of what you need to do. So today we're doing this video, going over the syllabus. There's a few assignments you have. I already mentioned these, syllabus quiz, and then there's an introductory discussion post that I'd like you to do that's described here. A reading for Wednesday, a reading reflection due, reading for Friday, a weekly reflection due, which is true for most Fridays. So everything that's due is in a red box, tells you exactly what to do, and it always gets posted on the discussion board in Learn. Week 2, here's a description. Monday, reading assignment, reading reflection. Wednesday, there's a lecture, which is rare, but we have one next week. Friday, reading assignment, weekly reflection, week 3, and so on. So this is how the whole course is set up. I've tried to mix up the assignments and the kinds of readings we do so we don't get bored, but it has the same kind of structure week in and week out, so you always know what to expect. Okay, I'll go over more content in terms of the topics and stuff later this week, but for now, we're just focused on logistics. Let's go back to the home page. A couple of things you absolutely need to know as we get started. Here's my email. Use it whenever you need to. I don't have office hours, but we can meet via Zoom if you want to talk kind of face-to-face. Mornings are best. Let me know. Here's the course description. Basically, the class is about this. How do dietary experts establish their expertise? When you read or hear that something is good for you or healthy or unhealthy, you should be eating this or not this, how do you know if you should believe it or not? How do you know if you should take it seriously? What kind of evidence is useful in deciding what kind of dietary advice is useful? This is a history class, so there's some history in it. We're looking at how this thing has changed over time. How have medical authorities continually redefined what it means to be healthy, eat a healthy diet? What is a healthy body? What can history of diet and health tell us about contemporary debates? Student learning objectives. At UNM, we're supposed to put these on our syllabus, and a lot of people do just because we're supposed to. I take them very seriously because I've thought a lot about what I want you to get out of this class. And every reading, every assignment, every activity, everything works towards one or a couple or occasionally all of these goals. So I want you to be sure that you understand what these are, because this is guiding everything we do. Question and judge the extent to which ideas of health are constructed as much socially and culturally as scientifically. So we have a lot of nutrition research in the world. We know a lot about how food interacts with the body. There's a lot we don't know also. But when we tell people what they should be eating or what's healthy or not, there's a lot of implicit sort of morality built into that. There's a lot of philosophy of diet and health. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of economics. There's a lot of things built into dietary advice. And this course sort of unpacks how historically and also in contemporary society, we couch a lot of moral advice about diet in terms of nutrition. We tell people they should eat X, Y, and Z to be healthy, but a lot of times that advice kind of boils down to you should eat X, Y, and Z because it's what I eat, right? It makes you a better person. We'll talk about how that happens and why that happens later on. Interpret and explain the rhetoric of health in different historical periods. How have people established dietary expertise? How do they connect with people? How do they convince people? Sharpen critical thinking about diet health expertise. Again, not just for historical periods, but for contemporary advice as well. We look at a lot of primary sources, writings from the late 19th, early 20th century, especially, and look at the language. How do people become persuasive, right? And we apply that. It's easier to see, in like reading sources from 1920. It's easier to sort of unpack how that way of speaking made sense in that time. And then now we can, after we do that, we can take that sort of process and apply it to contemporary dietary advice and say, why are people speaking in the way they do? Why are they writing this way? How are they trying to convince us? The bottom line, if you add all these up, this class is not concerned primarily with learning the history of diet and health, and that's the title of the class, so there is history of diet and health. But we use that as a way to learn about medical expertise more generally, and the rhetoric of diet and health, and the power of rhetoric. Ultimately, this class is concerned with how to think, not what to know. Okay, you're not being really tested at any point in what happened in the history of diet and health. You'll learn something as we go through the course. You can't avoid it. But what I'm really interested in is helping us learn to think more critically about diet and health, advice, and medicine more generally. And so we practice over and over and over with, topics related to diet and health, but it's really about how do we think about medical expertise. So getting started section here, if you are reading this kind of on your own, the schedule page, I've already talked about that. You are welcome here. If you've never taken a history class or even a humanities class, you are welcome here. I assume you don't know much about the history of diet or medicine. They're pretty specialized topics. I've structured the class so that if you know absolutely nothing, and that's kind of my assumption, we build up skills, we build up knowledge, we build up expertise as we go through the semester. There's no prerequisites, as you already know, but I make no assumptions about what you know or what you can do. We really start from sort of the baseline. So if you feel a little uncomfortable, it's a 400 level class, which means nothing. It's just an upper level humanities class. But some people are intimidated by a 400 number. They think it's harder or makes more assumptions about what you know. No, not true for this class. So you will do just fine. You can get whatever grade you want in this class. That's, to me, one of my main jobs as an instructor, is to make sure you get all the help that you want and that you learn as much as you're willing to learn. General work outline. You've kind of got a sense of this from looking at the schedule page already. This class normally is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class that meets in person. We're obviously not doing that. Everything is online. No face-to-face meetings, no synchronous meetings with Zoom or anything like that. I think it's much more effective to learn by just moving along slowly and evenly than to have just a bunch of assignments that you may or may not do and then try to cram everything into a couple of weeks and then write an essay and so on. So there's short or relatively short reading assignments every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Every Monday and Wednesday, most Mondays and Wednesdays for the first half of the course, you will submit a 150 to 200 word reading reflection. These links take you to assignment guides that tell you more detail about exactly what they are. You'll kind of get a sense of this and how they're graded. You can look at this on your own. They're very simple. 150 words goes really quick, right? When you just have to say what you thought was interesting or answer a couple prompts about them. Let's look at one for an example. Let's go to the schedule page. For Wednesday, you have a reading reflection. Everyone will post kind of what I call a standard reading reflection, and you're going to answer these questions. This is also what's on the discussion board on Learn. If we go back to that for a second, discussion board here. So you'll post your answer here, create thread, and do it. Same question. How much do you disagree or agree with this article? How much do you think knowledge of nutrition contributes to individual dietary choices? It's what do you think? I want to know what you think. The class is more interesting when we get to share our own impressions of things rather than just try to get to a right answer. There's no right answers in this class. It's just different ways of thinking and interpreting sources about diet and health, whether historical or contemporary. So this is the kind of assignment you'll get Monday and Wednesday. So it's pretty easy, pretty low stakes, 2 points, enough that it adds up over the semester, but not so much that it becomes onerous to do on a daily basis. And then every Friday you have a weekly learning reflection, which also has a guide. I won't go to that. 600 to 800 words, so it's a little bit more in terms of the word count, but it's asking you just to think about, what did you think about the readings for the week? How do they fit together in your mind? Where did they match up? Where did they disagree with each other? I also ask you a couple of questions that you respond to as part of sort of doing the learning reflection. But again, there's no right answer. It's not a test to see, did you learn X, Y, and Z from the readings? The upshot is that all of these assignments are very evenly distributed throughout the semester. There's no big essay, there's no big research project, there's no big final. You should spend less time doing all of these little assignments than you would going to class. And I think you'll actually learn more, because it's pretty easy to go to class and kind of be spaced out and think about other stuff and then leave and think you did something because you went to class. But here you really have to read it, you really have to think about it, write a short reflection, and just do this over and over, and we're constantly comparing things from different points in the class. So I think we'll actually learn a lot in this class, even though we never get to have the fun of an in-person discussion. Okay. Everything is just tortoise and hare. We're the tortoise. We're just moving evenly, slowly throughout the semester, so you don't have any big things due. The biggest thing is a 1,200-word final essay due the last day of finals that asks you to reflect on what you learned in the class and what you thought was interesting, and that's it. That is the biggest assignment you have. So everything is very, very sort of low key. Places to find stuff, you've already seen this. UNM Learn has links to everything. We have a course YouTube channel where all the videos will be posted. This keeps it in one place. It's a lot more convenient than putting them in Learn, I think. We use a tool called Zotero to access the readings. Let me go back to the readings, or the schedule page for a second. When you see a reading, Friday is a good example. There's no link here. It just says we're going to read this thing. You're going to get it in the course Zotero library. I've created a video on how you connect to the course Zotero library that you can watch if you want to see what the steps are. The whole thing will take you maybe 2 minutes to get connected. I say 5 minutes, this is being very pessimistic. But it really takes no time at all. You should go to the Getting Started guide, which is here. Again, the video walks you through all this, but you don't need the video to do it. You can just follow these instructions. Create an account, make sure you're logged in, go to this link, or click the Groups tab when you're on Zotero, click the Join button, and you're done. If you don't see the Join button, go here and follow these steps. This is all in the video, so I won't spend a lot of time on it, but you need to do this before you can access the course readings. Okay, for Wednesday, we just read an online article, so you don't need Zotero for Wednesday, but I would encourage you to get connected to it as soon as possible so we can do any troubleshooting, but I don't think there'll be any problems. We use one other tool. It's totally optional, but I want to be connected to you guys. We normally would have, a couple meetings a week where we get to interact and sort of chit chat, and you get to ask questions and so on. Unfortunately, we don't have that. So I'm using another tool called Slack, which is basically a messaging platform. It has a nice website, and it looks like this. I guess I can bring it up. It's just a message board. I haven't done anything with it because nobody's joined. So this is what it looks like. You can also get an app for your phone, which is what I normally use since I'm on my phone more than I'm on my computer these days. So it's a quick way of doing informal messages, comments, questions. If you find a broken link on the syllabus, if there's a question about an assignment prompt, if you have a question about a reading, if you just want to make a comment, if you want to ask me a question about anything, this is the best place to do it. It's very informal, way faster than email, and so on. It's totally optional. If you don't ever want to look at it, fine. If you do use it, if you're asking questions, if you're sort of engaged there, I hope we can have kind of an informal conversation between each other here. If you're doing that, and then you end up sort of in between two grades at the end of the semester, you automatically go to the higher grade. If you're doing anything with Slack, you don't have to be using it a lot, but I want to reward people who are putting in extra work to make comments there, ask questions, and so on. But mostly it's just a way that I can stay more connected to you informally rather than emails, which we all get too many emails. No required text. Everything is already online or in the Zotero library, which again, if you want to see what that looks like, watch the Zotero video. Work requirements and grading, I've basically already gone over all of this. This is just the exact number of points and assignments and so on. Grade distribution, all standard stuff. Extra credit. You should be able to get whatever grade you want in this class just with the basic work. I've made it very easy to get as many points as you want. If you feel like you want extra points or at the end you're concerned you're just short of a grade that you're aiming for, you can watch a food, health, diet documentary. There's roughly 10 zillion, and write a 600 to 800 word response or critique of it, similar to the weekly reflections length, so pretty short. And you can get 4 points. Like if you make a legitimate effort and it's coherent, you'll get all the 4 points. So it's an easy way of adding points if you're looking to get a few more. You can only do extra credit if you turn in all the other work. Okay, you can't just not do the required assignments and then do a bunch of extra credit. Okay, it's extra credit, not substitute credit. Okay, that's it for the home page. We've gone through literally everything on it. The main things to know about is that the course announcements will be posted here, none so far. All the links to the external things in Learn, the syllabus, Zotero, YouTube, Slack, they're all right here. They're also on the syllabus too. Everything you need for the course is on the syllabus, which is external to Learn. We've just gone over it, so hopefully it's very clear. As you're just getting up to speed, the first thing you should do is make sure you're connected to the Zotero library, Getting Started Guide, video. I know I'm repeating myself at this point. I just want to make sure it's totally clear. Things you need to do this week. Take the syllabus quiz after watching this video or even just reading through the syllabus. It should be a snap. There's 8 questions. Nothing tricky, I hope. It's meant to be very straightforward. One other assignment to do before Wednesday is to go to the discussion board and post an introduction. If we go back to the discussion board here, you see that there's an introductions forum. Click that. You'll see that I've already posted one. Okay, as an example, so you can look at mine and copy it. Not verbatim, obviously. Here's what you're supposed to respond to. Brief introduction to who you are and some opinion about diet and health that you've changed your mind about, which I think we all have many. Substantive, 150 words or so, but not long, right? Just a way of, introducing ourselves a little bit. I think that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. Email is fine, Slack is better, but whatever works for you. Let me know if you can't find anything, if you're confused about what to do. But really everything, again, Learn is primarily for the discussion board and quizzes. Everything is outlined on the syllabus, especially the schedule page in terms of what you should be reading and what you should be turning in. Look for the red boxes under the day that tells you what to do. All work gets submitted on the discussion board. This is a weird semester. I'm excited, though. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. The readings are really interesting. For the most part, a lot of cool primary sources. I think you'll have a very different perspective on dietary and health advice after this class. So I'm looking forward to reading and learning with you throughout the semester. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll be back in touch in the next day or two with a little bit more introductory information for the first week, the content of the class, the readings for Wednesdays and Fridays. Okay, take care, everyone.